Liquor store workers in Ontario get an agreement that ends their strike. Pro-Palestinian protesters disrupt the Halifax Pride parade. Ontario police watchdog clears cop who broke man's nose. Houthis and Israel exchange attacks, and Sudan and Iran repair relations by exchanging ambassadors. Good morning. It's Monday, July 22nd. I'm Nora. Here are your headlines. The union representing LCBO workers has ratified a deal with the employer that will see the end of a 2-week strike and allow stores to reopen on Tuesday. The union said that the final deal included significant improvements on the one offered before the strike. According to the LCBO, the deal includes an 8% over 3 years increase in salary and a commitment to turn 1,000 casual workers into permanent part-time status, hiring more full-time staff and improving benefits for casual staff. The union said in a statement that the new deal was a, quote, win for workers and Ontarians, unquote. Next to Halifax, where pro-Palestinian protesters disrupted the Halifax Pride parade this past weekend, calling for an end to the participation of politicians, members of the Canadian Armed Forces, and corporations that are complicit in the ongoing genocide in Gaza in the parade. Similar disruptions happened at other Pride parades in Canada and the United States last month. Alexina St. Pierre Faro, a chairperson for the Canadian Federation of Students Nova Scotia, told CBC News that most of the protesters are, quote, queer, and we want to reclaim Pride as something that belongs to the people and not the corporations. We were hoping to raise awareness, and we were hoping to make these companies see that the people together have the power, not the corporations, unquote. Next, Ontario's police watchdog, the Special Investigations Unit, has cleared police of responsibility after a man ended up with a broken nose following his arrest. According to CTV News, the police had responded to a call to report an assault and damaged property. After confronting the 23-year-old man, they arrested a man after grounding him and handcuffing him. He ended up in the hospital with a broken nose. You'll hear this passive voice coming through the script right now. That's because that's how the news reports it. Always these things just happened. Man ended up with broken nose, ended up on the ground. The SIU investigated the arrest and concluded that there was no wrongdoing for the police to have broken this guy's nose. Next to international news, and first to Yemen. The Houthis and the Israeli army have been exchanging attacks following a drone strike by the Houthis that targeted Tel Aviv on Friday. Since October, the Yemeni group has been disrupting commercial shipping in the Red Sea and sending missiles towards Israel in solidarity with Palestinians as the genocide in Gaza has continued. Friday's drone strike was the first lethal attack by the Houthis to hit Israel. The attack killed 1 person and injured 10. Since then, Israel has been exchanging attacks with the Yemeni group through airstrikes, hitting the port city of Hodeidah, where 80 people were killed. This is the first time Israel has responded to an attack from Yemen. The US and the UK have been launching attacks there in response to the disruptions in commercial shipping. The Houthis have said that they will continue their attacks on commercial shipping and launching missiles at Israel until a ceasefire is reached. And in case that number flew by you really quickly, that was the death toll of 1 person dying in Tel Aviv from the missiles compared to 80 people being killed by Israel in a counterattack. Meanwhile, there have been intense protests in Tel Aviv ahead of Benjamin Netanyahu's departure to Washington, where he will, for some reason, address Congress. Protests in Tel Aviv have not let up, as Israelis have been demanding a ceasefire agreement that would see the return of hostages and for Netanyahu to step down. Netanyahu was also expected to meet with Joe Biden upon his arrival. It's not clear what will happen now that after weeks of pressure, Biden says that he's dropping out of the upcoming election as the Democratic nominee. He's endorsed Kamala Harris, as I'm sure you know by now, and Harris is just as much of a Zionist, though perhaps has a different spin on her Zionism. It will be very interesting to see what happens. And finally, Sudan and Iran are exchanging ambassadors following an 8-year break in diplomatic relations. Sudan broke off diplomatic relations with Iran in 2016 after Saudi Arabia's embassy in Tehran was attacked. The move by Sudan was seen as supporting Saudi Arabia and shifting its foreign policy to align with the kingdoms. Then, in October last year, Sudan and Iran announced that they would restore diplomatic relations as the army was looking for allies in its war with the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces. Earlier this year, Washington expressed concern about the strengthening relationship between Iran and Sudan. This follows a broader trend in Iran restoring relations with Arab countries following a Beijing brokered deal between Tehran and Riyadh last year. The Sudanese army has also strengthened ties with Russia, which was previously aligned with the RSF through the Wagner Group. Those are your headlines for Monday, July 22nd. I'm Nora. Yeah, that big news. Biden out, Harris in. Pretty interesting stuff. I certainly am a big fan of the television show Veep, and it's hard not to think about Veep every time I listen to Harris say something. It's kind of an amazing parallel. That show is very funny, and Harris makes me laugh, but not in a ha-ha kind of way. Anyway, good luck to her, and good luck to the Democratic Party, who have, of course, gotten tons of donations as a result of Joe Biden's announcement. I saw someone say, it's funny that Nancy Pelosi is congratulating Biden for stepping down. That woman is 2 years older than him and still going strong and planning to run in November. I don't know, maybe your gerontocracy needs a rest, U.S. Maybe it is time for a lot of people to jump out of the arena. Harris, by the way, is 60, which I was a bit surprised by. I thought she might have been younger than that, but there you go. You are listening to this podcast at sandynora.com, on the Real News Network podcast feed, and anywhere you get your podcasts. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. I hope you have a great week staring you down, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.